There is a moment in every person's life when the world feels strangely close, as if something unseen is leaning in, waiting for you to notice what has been beside you this entire time. It usually happens quietly. A small shift inside you, a brief pause in the middle of an ordinary day, a feeling that something is opening not outside but within. You do not know why it arrives, but when it does, you sense it immediately. It feels like the beginning of understanding how life actually works beneath the surface you have been staring at for so long. Most people think reality is fixed. They think life moves on its own, and they simply follow. But here is the truth. Life is not a single line you must walk. It is more like a field of possibilities that waits for the moment you finally pay attention. You think you are stuck, but actually you are standing in front of a door that has been half open for years. You think you have no control, but actually you have been guided by patterns you never learned to read. The strange part is that this field is always trying to show you something, not through signs you must decode or hidden secrets you must chase, but through the way your inner world reacts to the moments around you. Every time you feel a pull towards something, every time a thought returns again and again, every time a quiet intuition appears from nowhere, it is not random. It is the manual of reality trying to reach you through the only channel it can, your own awareness. You may not realize this, but you have already felt it many times. That sudden sense of clarity that appears when you stop forcing things. That inner yes that shows up before you have words for it. That soft unease that tells you when something is not right. These are not emotions you should ignore. They are instructions. They are the way the deeper layer of life communicates when you are finally still enough to hear it. Most people never slow down long enough to notice. They think their thoughts are noise, but here is what it really means. Your mind is not trying to overwhelm you. It is trying to guide you back to the point where life starts responding differently. You are not broken. You are overloaded. You are not lost. You are rearranging. You are not behind. You are being prepared. There is a shift happening inside you and you can feel it. Not as drama, not as pressure, but as a gentle sense that something is aligning. You may not know what to do with it yet. That is normal. No one teaches this part. No one explains that when life begins to change its tone, the first thing you feel is a quiet interference, as if the old ways of thinking no longer match where you are going. Here is the part people misunderstand. The moment you sense this shift, the field around you starts to respond. Not because you created anything, but because you noticed it. Awareness is the ignition. Attention is the bridge. The moment you become conscious of what is happening inside you, reality begins to reorganize itself around that awareness, not magically, naturally. This is how your inner world and your outer world quietly negotiate your next chapter. There is something powerful you can do right now. It is small, simple, and invisible from the outside. A micro-practice. Bring your attention to the one thought that has been following you lately, the one that keeps returning no matter how many times you push it away. Do not judge it. Just notice the weight of it, the shape of it, the way it sits quietly in the background. That thought is not random. It is the doorway. It is the instruction you keep receiving. Stay with it for a moment, and you will feel a subtle recognition rising inside you, as if a part of you has been waiting for you to finally notice this one thread. You are closer than you think. Closer to clarity, closer to direction, closer to the version of yourself you keep sensing but cannot name yet. This is how the manual of reality begins, not with loud revelations but with the quiet realization that something in you already knows the way. You may never have said it out loud, but there is something you have been carrying for a long time. A question that stays unspoken because you worry the answer might change everything. It sits beneath your routines, beneath your confidence, beneath the image you show other people. It whispers only when the world around you becomes quiet enough. Is my life supposed to feel like this? Or have I missed something? Most people feel this way at some point, yet almost no one admits it. They assume they are alone in it. But here's the truth. This feeling is not a mistake. It is the first signal that your inner world is ready to shift into a clearer version of itself. You think you are falling behind, but actually you are finally catching up to who you were always becoming. You think you are confused, but actually you are seeing things without the filters that used to keep you numb. There is a moment when this becomes obvious. A moment when the things that once felt solid no longer feel like they fit. Old goals lose their shine. Old habits feel too small. Old beliefs feel tight around you, as if you have grown but never noticed. You do not break during these times. You expand. And expansion almost always feels like disorientation before it feels like clarity. The field responds strongest when you reach this point, not with dramatic turns or sudden miracles, but with subtle rearrangements. People drift in or out. New ideas come in waves. A small opportunity appears where there was none. You start hearing a sentence that sticks. You start noticing a pattern that makes sense in a way it never did. These moments are not coincidences. They are adjustments. They are the deeper layer of reality trying to align with the shift happening inside you. You may have already noticed that something in your life feels slightly out of rhythm. Not wrong, just unfamiliar. This is the sign that you are stepping into the next mental layer. It often begins with a single thought. I cannot keep living on autopilot. That is the sound of your inner architecture changing. When this begins, your attention starts to sharpen. You become more sensitive to what drains you and more aware of what feels alive. You begin to feel the difference between what you have outgrown and what is quietly calling you forward. Most people try to fix this stage. They think something is wrong with them. But here is what it really means. You are entering the part of your life where your choices begin to matter more than your habits. You are entering the part where your inner signals grow louder than the noise around you. You are entering the part where life stops being something that happens to you and starts becoming something you can actually shape. The truth is simple. The manual of reality was never hidden. It was silent. It was waiting for you to become the version of yourself who could read it. And now you are closer than ever. Pause for a moment and notice the place inside you that feels the most restless right now. The part that keeps wanting to move but has nowhere to go yet. That restlessness is your signal. It is the friction that appears when your inner world is outgrowing the structure it lived in. The field does not push you. It nudges you. It places a gentle pressure in the exact place where your life is ready to open. You may feel tired. You may feel uncertain. You may feel like you are standing in a hallway between chapters. But the hallway is not a delay. It is alignment. It is the moment your inner world catches up to the truth you have been sensing. Something is reorganizing itself. Something is preparing you. Something is trying to show you that you are already standing at the beginning of a new direction. And here's the part you never expected. The moment you stop resisting this shift, the moment you stop clinging to the old version of yourself, reality begins to match the shape of the person you are becoming. Quietly at first, then unmistakably. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not failing. You are becoming readable to the deeper layer of life. There is something powerful that happens the moment you realize you are in a transition. Not a crisis, not a collapse, a transition. It feels different. It has a quieter tone. It is not the feeling of everything falling apart. It is the feeling of everything loosening, making space for what has been waiting behind the tension. Most people misunderstand this stage because it does not look dramatic from the outside. It is internal, subtle, almost invisible. But it is the phase where the deeper architecture of your life begins to shift. You think nothing is happening, but actually everything is rearranging in the background. You think life is slowing down, but actually you are being recalibrated for the next layer. This is why certain things feel distant. This is why old patterns no longer hold. This is why you cannot force yourself back into the person you used to be. You are not returning. You are unfolding. There is always a moment when this inner shift tries to get your attention. It might be a sudden memory that keeps resurfacing. It might be a quiet thought that refuses to leave. It might be a feeling that the way you have been living is too small for who you are now. These signals are not noise. They are the instructions you have been trying to receive for years. The manual of reality always begins with a whisper, never with a shout. Most people think they need to figure everything out before they move. But here is the truth. You will feel the next step long before you understand it. Understanding comes later. The signal comes first. That is why intuition always arrives before logic. It is not there to give you certainty. It is there to give you direction. Think about the moments in your life when something felt right even before you had the words to explain it. Think about the moments you walked away from something without knowing why, only to understand the reason much later. Think about the connections that felt instant, the opportunities that unfolded with almost no effort, the choices that felt inevitable. These moments were not accidents. They were glimpses of you reading the manual without realizing it. Most people feel overwhelmed at this stage because they think awareness requires answers. But here is what it really requires. Honesty. The kind of honesty where you admit to yourself what is no longer working. The kind where you stop pretending you do not feel what you feel. The kind where you finally acknowledge that something in you wants to expand. When you reach this level of honesty, life shifts. And it shifts fast. There is a tension inside you right now that you keep trying to label. But you do not need to label it. You need to listen to it. That tension is the point where the old version of you no longer matches the inner truth you are stepping into. It is the sound of your life stretching, the sound of your identity evolving, the sound of a deeper part of you rising to the surface. Pause for a moment and feel the simplest question inside you. What part of my life feels too small now? Do not analyze it. Do not justify it. Simply notice it. That noticing is the beginning of alignment. It is the place where the field begins to respond with clarity instead of confusion. You may not feel ready. You may not feel confident. You may not feel certain. But readiness is not the requirement. Awareness is. Once you see what is shifting, the next step becomes impossible to ignore. Not because someone tells you what to do, but because something inside you finally clicks into place. You think you are waiting for a sign, but actually the sign has been waiting for you. You think you need more time, but actually time has been preparing you. You think nothing has changed, but actually everything inside you has already begun, and soon the outer world will start to reflect it. There is a quiet turning point in every transformation, and you may be standing on it right now. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It feels more like a soft click inside you, a moment when something becomes clear in a way it never was before. You cannot force this moment, and you cannot predict it. It arrives only when you have reached the edge of an old version of yourself and can no longer pretend it fits. You know this feeling. It is the moment when you stop chasing the life you think you should want and start noticing the life that quietly calls you. It is the moment when the noise around you begins to lose its power. It is the moment when you feel a pull toward a direction that does not make sense yet, but feels strangely true. This pull is the opening. It is the beginning of your alignment with the deeper pattern beneath your days. Most people mistake this for confusion, but here is the truth. When your inner world grows faster than your outer world, it always feels like uncertainty. You think you are stuck, but actually you are in motion. You think you have no clarity, but actually clarity is forming beneath the surface. You think life is slowing down, but actually you are being rerouted. This is what the transition phase feels like. It is not a pause, it is a redirection. You might notice that certain things no longer hold your attention the way they used to. Conversations feel different. Routines feel flat. Goals you once cared about feel heavy. This does not mean you are losing interest in life. It means life is trying to guide you into a new chapter. When you outgrow an old layer, the world around you becomes quieter, emptier, almost hollow. That emptiness is not a void. It is space being prepared. There is a pattern here, and if you look closely, you will see it. Every time a deeper shift begins, something inside you starts to detach, not from the present, but from the version of yourself that survived old seasons. The person you were then is not the person you are now. And that difference is starting to show. This is why you feel pulled forward without knowing where forward is. This is why you feel restless, even when everything seems fine on the surface. Pause for a moment and ask yourself the question you have been avoiding. What truth have I been sensing, but not admitting? The answer will not be loud. It will come as a small recognition, almost like a memory. That is how the manual of reality speaks. It does not argue. It does not push. It simply reveals. There is something else happening inside you too. Your attention is sharpening. You may feel more sensitive than usual. You may notice things you used to overlook. You may sense when someone's presence feels heavy or when a decision feels off. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is calibration. You are learning to read the signals that have always been there. Most people drown these signals out with noise. You are beginning to hear them clearly. Here is the part you rarely hear anyone talk about. When your awareness reaches this level, the field around you rearranges faster. You will notice the right conversation showing up at the perfect time. The right thought dropping into your mind without warning. The right opportunity appearing out of nowhere. These are not coincidences. These are convergences. They happen when your inner state and your outer environment start to match. You may feel like you are walking blindly into the unknown, but you are not. You are walking into the part of your life that has been waiting for you to stop pretending you are smaller than you are. This is the moment when life shifts its weight. This is the moment when you realize that clarity is not something you find. It is something you grow into. You are closer than you think. Closer to understanding the pattern. Closer to recognizing the direction. Closer to reading the quiet instructions that have been guiding you from underneath your own thoughts. The manual of reality is not out there. It is in you. There is a point in every inner shift when the pieces finally begin to fall into place, and you may be feeling that point forming inside you now. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It feels more like a slow gathering of truth, as if your life has been quietly rearranging itself while you were busy trying to understand it. This is the moment when the deeper layer begins to reveal its shape. You may have noticed small changes already. Your reactions feel different. Your priorities are shifting. Things that once mattered now feel distant, almost irrelevant. This is not disconnection. This is refinement. You are beginning to separate your real self from the layers you built to survive older seasons. Those layers served you. They kept you moving. But now they are too tight, and you can feel the pressure of outgrowing them. Most people think this pressure is a sign that something is wrong. But here's the truth. When you feel the subtle friction between who you were and who you are becoming, it means your inner world is realigning. You are sensing the new shape before it fully forms. This is why you feel both uncertain and strangely steady at the same time. This is why you feel both restless and anchored. Growth always carries a double tone. You might notice moments when life feels strangely synchronized. A sentence from a stranger lands exactly where it needs to. A thought you ignored starts to make sense. A possibility you once dismissed begins to glow with quiet importance. These moments are not random. They are signals. They are the way your inner state reflects into the world around you, shaping the flow of your days in ways you cannot yet measure. Think about something simple. How often have you felt a pull toward a direction you could not explain? That pull is not a fantasy. It is recognition. It is your deeper self seeing where you fit before your conscious mind can articulate why. Most people talk themselves out of these signals. You are beginning to follow them. There is something else rising inside you too. The sense that your life is supposed to feel more aligned, more natural, more connected than it has felt in a long time. This is not you being unrealistic. It is you remembering. There is a version of you that sees clearly, decides cleanly, listens deeply. That version is not far away. It is already forming. Pause here. Let your awareness settle on the quietest part of your thoughts. the place beneath the noise, the place that feels still even when everything else is moving. Stay there for a moment. Notice how spacious it feels, even if the world around you is chaotic. That space is not imaginary. It is the opening. It is where new clarity enters. It is where the manual of reality writes its next instruction. You think you need certainty before you move, but actually movement creates certainty. You think you need answers before you choose, but choosing reveals answers. You think you are waiting for life to show you the way, but life has been waiting for you to acknowledge what you already know. There is a truth you have been circling around, and you feel it every time you stop trying to force your way through the world. It is the truth that your life becomes clearer the moment you become honest about what feels real to you. When you follow what feels real, the field aligns. When you ignore it, the field resists. It has always been this simple. You are stepping into a chapter where the deeper layer of life becomes more readable, more responsive, more precise. The signals will get stronger. The alignment will get clearer. The direction will become unmistakable. Not because something external appears, but because something internal awakens. Soon you will look back on this moment and recognize it for what it truly was. The beginning of understanding how reality responds to the person you are becoming. There is a final shift that happens when everything you have been feeling begins to connect into one truth. It arrives quietly, almost gently, the way dawn arrives long before anyone notices the first hint of light. It begins with a realization so simple that you almost overlook it. Nothing in your life has been random. Every moment of restlessness, every cycle of confusion, every surge of clarity, every silent instinct, they were all pieces of the same message trying to reach you. You are not here by accident. You did not arrive at this exact moment by coincidence. Something in you has been preparing for this understanding for a long time. The deeper layer of reality has been trying to hand you its manual page by page, and now you are finally in the state where you can read it without fear, without pressure, without pretending. Look at your journey with honest eyes. You have endured seasons that would have broken someone with less strength. You have held yourself together when no one was watching. You have grown quietly, internally, without applause. You have rebuilt versions of yourself that others never even saw fall apart. That resilience was not wasted. It shaped the part of you that can hear the deeper signals now. Most people go through life half awake, responding only to what they can see. But you are stepping into the layer where you begin responding to what you can sense. You think this is coincidence, but actually this is alignment. You think this is uncertainty, but actually this is recognition. The deeper part of you has started to wake up, and that awakening changes the way life moves around you. There is something inside you that has been calling for a long time. A direction, a shift, a truth you could feel but not articulate. It was not an idea. It was a frequency, a quiet inner tone that told you there was more to your life than the surface you were living on. And now that tone is getting louder, clearer, sharper, not overwhelming, just undeniable. Pause for a moment and notice the exact place in your mind where you feel that recognition. The soft inner yes, the quiet forward pull, the understanding that feels both new and familiar. That feeling is the beginning of alignment. It is the moment your inner world catches up to the truth you have been sensing. You are ready for more than you have been allowing yourself to see. And before you move into that next chapter, there is something important to realize. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to chase anything. You do not need to prove anything. The field around you responds to clarity, not pressure. It responds to honesty, not performance. It responds to the version of you that is willing to act from truth, not fear. When you move from that place, the place where your inner yes becomes your compass, life begins to organize itself around your direction. People show up, paths open, thoughts align, choices become cleaner. You stop negotiating with your own doubt. You stop shrinking to fit old rooms. You stop asking for permission to be who you already are. You think you are waiting for the right moment, but here is the truth. The moment is waiting for you. The shift you have been feeling is not a warning. It is an invitation, and it is being offered to you now, not someday. If one word or one emotion from this entire journey is still echoing inside you, write it in the comments, not for me, but to mark this moment for yourself, to anchor the shift you can feel forming. And now breathe into this final understanding. You are not standing at the edge of your life. You are standing at the threshold of your clarity. Tune in. Recalibrate. Shift your frequency.